Hello, everyone. This is the Parks Academy, where we discuss and celebrate all things theme parks related. We focus mainly on Disney parks and resorts in both Anaheim and Orlando. My name is Paige.
My name is Steven.
And today we will be sharing our ideas for retheming rides in Disney parks.
We've bounced this idea around quite a bit because there are some rides that we really, really like, but we've thought, what if there was maybe a movie that represented this ride better? Or, wouldn't it be fun if this movie was represented in the parks? So we are going to talk about that. We've got 10 specific rides that we feel would maybe benefit or would be really cool with a reimagining. And just as a total disclaimer, none of the rides that we're talking about are because we hate them or because we don't think they're good or they need to have a refresh. We'll say the ones that we do think could use a refresh, because I do think some on this list could. But overall, this is just kind of more of like just like a fun game that we want to play where we sort of use some creativity and talk about what rides could maybe benefit from a little bit of an upgrade of sorts.
Yeah, we're just using our imaginations here. That's all. We love, like Steven said, we love most of these rides. But in just talking and thinking about, wouldn't it be cool if this ride were themed to this film instead? We just thought, wow, that would be a good podcast episode. So here we are.
Yeah, here we are. So, all right, let's start with the first one on our list is Frozen Ever After. This was my pick because I feel like, let's see. I feel like this would really benefit with an overlay of Thor. The thing that's interesting about it, though, is that Thor, to me, the god of thunder, and he kind of whips through the air with his hammer, and he has lightning and stuff. I think that there would have to be a lot of creativity to make this work. That's why I'm not an Imagineer, and I'm just a snork podcaster who talks about things. And before I get any, emails, I understand that east of the Mississippi, the Universal owns the right to certain Marvel franchises. So, for instance, we are able to have Cosmic Rewind because Universal doesn't own the rights to Guardians of the Galaxy, but they own the rights to all the other major Captain America, Hulk, X-Men, Iron Man, Thor, stuff like that.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man, yeah. So I understand that there's legal issues with this, but I still, it would be cool, I think, to see Thor in the Norway Pavilion, doing his thing, and it would make for an interesting dark ride, I think, to go through Asgard. What do you think?
Yeah, and what I envision when you say Thor in that particular ride, if everything about the ride stayed the same in terms of you being in a boat and getting to that point where then all of a sudden it's like the track swaps and you go backwards down that hill. I just envision Loki being in front of you and coming face to face with Loki, and then all of a sudden, I don't know, some magic powers happen, and that's when you go back down the hill. And so that, to me, really feels like it fits with some sort of Loki magic, being at that point where Thor maybe comes up against his brother, and then you have this sudden change and turn of events in the ride. It seems like it would be more thrilling.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because of the context of the movie and the storyline. But I think, like you said, Asgard would be really cool. I think they could do a lot with that.
Like the bridge and the Ragnarok scene where the lava monster pops out.
And the music, the 80s music.
Yeah, one thing I'd like to see is, the rock monster that's just kind of laying, or it's not a rock monster, the giant snow monster that's laying there on the ride. At one point, you go by him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that'd be funny as Fat Thor from Endgame. So, yeah, Endgame. So, that's just kind of one that I would like to see a little bit more thrilling. But, I understand that a lot of big bucks come from Frozen, and that's a high demand item. Staying in Epcot, the next ride that we think would really be cool to have a overlay on would be the Gran Fiesta Tour. And I'll just let you take this one away and talk about it.
Yeah, so you already have this little Coco area as you're entering the Mexico Pavilion before you get into the little marketplace, and then you have the restaurant and the Grand Fiesta tour as you go all the way down into the pavilion. But we thought it would be really cool to turn the Grand Fiesta tour into a Coco ride because you could incorporate all of these beautiful pieces of culture and cinematic genius, really, with the bridge made of marigolds into the afterlife. And you could have you going through the party and hearing all of the songs and the music and seeing all of the houses up on the hill and having the different characters being incorporated and kind of feeling like you're traveling through with Miguel. I just thought what a cool overlay that would be in keeping with the theming of the Mexico Pavilion and leaving that culture immersed there. And I love the Three Caballeros. I think it's so cute. I love it. But again, these are just, if we could reimagine some of these things with other movies that maybe aren't represented as much in the parks, I think Coco would be a beautiful choice for that. I think they could do a lot with it, and the Imagineers could do an incredible job.
I totally agree with that. I was actually thinking, how cool it would be to have the Un Poco Loco song playing during that ride.
Yeah, that'd be so cute.
Yeah, because that movie is extremely good and very, very, very well done. So I definitely think that it would actually benefit from it. And one of the things I think about the Grand Fiesta Tour that would be easy to swap is that the vast majority of that ride is just screens.
Right.
So,
That's
there's
true.
just a lot of screens doing things. So you could do a lot of different stuff with it. And it wouldn't be super hard to get a, Ector animatronic or whatever. Although it'd be weird to see an animatronic of skeletons
It would.
because where do all the wires go?
How would they do that?
Yeah, I don't think they could pull it off unless it was a marionette of some kind.
Imagineers are very gifted. I have faith that they can
I don't think
make
they're that gifted
an
though.
animatronic skeleton. I believe in them.
Maybe.
I believe in them.
All right.
There would be some sort of, I don't know. I trust in their technology.
The only thing I have to say about that though is that if sometimes Donald Duck has to be replaced with like a pot of flowers,
You're not wrong.
I don't have that much faith that it would work out well. But either way, I think the story would be very charming and endearing. Instead of just having Donald up to shenanigans of whatever he's doing. So should we move on to the next one?
Yeah, sounds good. So the next one.
Okay, we're sticking in Epcot, I guess. And this one was one of my picks too, because Paige has never ridden it.
Yep, no thanks.
As I guess a lot of people haven't. But Mission Space is a great ride. But from a theming perspective, it really kind of falls flat on its face. And there's not a whole lot happening besides just it being a space simulator.
Is there anything that makes this Disney on the inside?
The cast members have their name tags, but that's about it.
I mean, like the theming of the ride.
No.
Or the queue or anything.
No, not at all.
Okay. I've never even been in the queue for this one.
So I think that with the new Lightyear movie coming out, it would be so cool to have that ride rethemed to that upcoming film. And I'm talking about the Chris Evans one with the Zurg that just like blows my mind at how cool he is. I think that they could do a really, really good job of retheming that ride to be more of a franchise kind of experience.
Mm-hmm.
Shooting up into the space, doing the whole Infinity and Beyond nonsense. I think that, at one point, like I think you land on Mars and you like go over a cliff or something. There's a lot of like action that happens in that ride, Mission Space. And I think that it could benefit from being a little bit more fun. From a title, film title perspective. The only thing about doing that though is that because that ride I would say is not kid friendly and not most people friendly, I don't know if it would be worth it because I don't know how many. I guess a lot of people would still go on it, but it would be probably a lot of effort for little return.
Well, would you also be getting kids who want to ride it because they want to ride the new Buzz Lightyear ride, and then they are then scared half to death and their day is ruined?
Yeah.
That would be my only concern.
there is like the tame version, the green line.
Right, you've got like green or orange, but still, if it's Buzz Lightyear and families don't know.
Yeah. Well then, surprise.
I think the green one is still.
I've never done the green one. For me, it's like orange or nothing because I don't know. I I've never done the tame version of it.
I think my dad has ridden the green one.
Yeah,
we never
orange
rode
is-
this one with him.
Orange is where it's at, but yeah, I just think it'd be really cool, and I'm like beside myself excited to see the new Lightyear film.
Me too.
But primarily because the Zurg character, just like I think Zurg is the most underrated Pixar character. Besides,
I'm just here for Chris Evans.
besides
so.
Emile and Ratatouille, he's like amazing. But anyway, that's what I would do for that, and I think that's about all I have to say. I mean, I don't know. The queue could be cool. They could do a lot of stuff to make it like Space Ranger themed.
Right, without taking away or distracting from Buzz Lightyear Space Ranger spin, or
Oh yeah,
it would be a
multiple franchise
totally
rides.
right, and it would also be a totally different thing. I mean, they've got Toy Story Land in Hollywood Studios, and you have the Buzz Lightyear ride in Magic Kingdom, so why not throw another Toy Story ride in Epcot?
Yeah, why the heck not? I was thinking when I was putting this together and thinking about overlays, I thought Wally would be kind of fun.
Oh, that would be cute too.
But it's like then you blast off and then what? You just like float around in space with a fire hydrant or fire extinguisher, just doing whatever it is Wally does. Like
you could
that would get really boring really quick.
It would. That would actually probably be better for like a dark ride, and you could be like the humans who don't even walk on their own anymore. They just ride in those little
that's the
floating
dream
things. There it is.
Okay, the next one we are going to make our way over to Animal Kingdom, and this isn't really in an order, so we're just going to bounce around like crazy people. But this one is going to be Dinosaur, and it's actually funny because when Paige and I, we both kind of picked our own options independently of one another, and a few of them we were spot on together, and this was the first one that we were like, oh, she didn't believe me when I told her that I picked
thought
the
he
exact
stole
same
my
thing.
idea.
No, you saw me choose all mine before you, but yeah, we came up with the same answer for this.
Mm-hmm.
So I will let you introduce what we would recommend a change for Dinosaur would be.
So when I think of Dinosaur, when I thought of Animal Kingdom, I know the original vision for Animal Kingdom was that you had all these different areas, and there was this dragon area, right? The fantasy piece.
Yeah, it was like a fantasy section.
And it was actually in the logo, incorporated in the logo, so that little dragon really doesn't have a place, but now we have the Pandora area, which sort of has this fantasy element. So I thought, why not have Onward?
Yeah, man, that'd be perfect.
Why not throw a little bit of more fantasy into Animal Kingdom? And I just pictured being in Barley's van and riding through and going on this adventure to find their dad. I just thought, what a cool thing to incorporate Onward. I thought Onward was a fantastic movie. Like, I loved it.
Yeah, me too. It was definitely a box office flop. But,
yeah, which was surprising.
Well,
COVID.
COVID. Thanks, bud. COVID got it. So, because it came. Well, actually,
it was.
When did COVID? No, gosh, wow. I was like, it came out in February 21st, 2020, and I was like, COVID was after that, right? Nah, dog. It wasn't.
No, it was like.
It was like a couple weeks later.
2 weeks before the world shut down.
Yeah. So COVID was like, I can't have Tom Holland outshine me. That's a terrible joke. I apologize. But anyway, yeah, Onward was great. I agree with you. Like going through Barley's van, just wrecking havoc. There's so many cool aspects of that film. The ridiculous school mascot dragon that comes to life. The restaurant with the Manticore. The Manticore, sorry.
The Manticore, yeah.
Yeah, there's just so many fun little sections of that film that I think could really benefit from it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing is like when I was thinking of Dinosaur, like, what could replace it? My mind was like Cars. No, it's not really good.
Right.
Like what rides are bumpy and rough, or what movies kind of feature a rough and bumpy experience?
Action adventure, some sort of journey that you're going through, but also Barley's van. Duh.
Yeah, because Indiana Jones is the exact same version of that in Disneyland.
Yes.
And that one's perfect. And then I was like, Fast and the Furious? No, wrong franchise. Like, wrong company.
That is in Universal,
completely,
right?
Yeah, completely wrong company. That's a joke. I know my I know the difference between who owns what. Although at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if Disney secretly owned Universal. But anyway, yeah, I think that Onward is a perfect pick for it, and it would be so much fun.
I agree. I think that one. I know that Dinosaur the movie seems a little confusing for that because I don't even remember watching that
I was
movie.
gonna ask you if you've seen it
Honestly,
before.
I probably saw it when I was younger, but I like the ride because of the thrill level, not because of the theming. And so it just feels that whole Dino Land USA area in Animal Kingdom feels like the first area that needs an upgrade anyway. So why not throw in some fresh new movies with these retheming ideas? You hear us, Imagineers?
Yeah,
We're giving you free
Dinosaur.
ideas.
I saw Dinosaur when it first came out in 2000, and it was I remember it being really weird, and I was like, I don't prefer this at all.
I was 5. I don't remember
So
that long
yeah,
ago.
Dinosaur was a really extremely weird film. I remember it being beautifully animated, but the backgrounds were very like Uncanny Valley. So oh, and they had those weird lemurs. Ugh, yeah, that movie was terrible. But anyway, yeah, I think that because I would bet you dimes to donuts that a lot of people, like young kids that go on that ride, don't actually know that Dinosaur is a film.
No, they
I'll
probably just
bet
think
you.
it's a ride,
Yeah, it's like every day someone's born who's never seen the Flintstones. You
right?
know, I don't. I bet you that a lot of kids and
Probably
maybe
not.
even people who aren't like really Disney folk
Right?
wouldn't even know that, you know, the dinosaur, in the front of the attraction is Aladar, and the main character. So,
Now, if
yeah,
it was a Land Before Time ride,
Land Before
uh,
Time wasn't Disney though.
no, it wasn't. But that's what I'm saying. If it
Oh,
was a
okay.
Land Before Time ride, I think I would have more of a nostalgia to
Yeah.
it because that feels more to me like a dinosaur movie I enjoyed in my
hmm
childhood. But alas,
Or the
not
Dinosaurs TV
not
show,
Disney. Well, yes.
you know,
Well, that's throwing it
or
back.
Land Before Time as Fast and the Furious.
Perfect.
Littlefoot's like Dominic or whatever.
Dominic Toretto.
Yeah, and then Ducky would be whoever. I don't know. It'd be funny. Spike and all them. Okay. So great. Let's talk about Soaring,
Sorin.
which would be. I wrote Soaring. I
Apostrophe.
don't know why I wrote Soaring like a monster. You had some thoughts on this one. I had some thoughts on this one, but I'll let you start on it, and then I guess I can kind of expand on what you have to say.
Yeah, so my idea was how I feel like Up deserves a ride. I just feel like it does. And so I thought, well, the easiest one to retheme to make Up fit would be Soren because it just makes sense. You could be in the house, you could be floating through, floating over um
Paradise Falls.
Paradise Falls. I almost said Gravity Falls. I was like, that is a Disney
That movie
Channel
rules. We'll
show.
talk about that movie
The-
later.
That's a Disney Channel show.
Yeah, it's so good. Oh,
Wrong Falls.
Grunkle Stan, baby.
Paradise Falls. And you could be going over the jungle and all of these pieces, and you can go over the little spot where his house was and all the construction. I just thought, like, what a cute little thing, but that would be a really short ride.
Yeah, so I actually had Up as my first option for that, but I took it one step further because the thing with Soarin' is that you don't just soar over one space. You really kind of um sort of almost seemingly randomly hop from one spot to the next to the next to the next.
It's
And when
almost
you're
like you go around the world or
yeah, it's
something.
almost like you go around the world, sure. And so what I thought was, you could kind of like go through Disney films. So
Brilliant.
yeah, right. I know. So you would go through Up. I think Paradise Falls would be very cool. You could kind
Mm-hmm.
of follow. You could follow the house. You
Mm-hmm.
could follow Kevin running through the forest. You could follow. Was it Carl Muntz? Is that his name? Wait,
Are you
was it?
mixing people up?
No, wait. What's his name? Muntz or something?
Carl is the main old guy.
Yeah, I think you're right about
Russell is
that.
my little wilderness
Charles
explorer.
Charles Muntz. Yeah, you can like go by his blimp. So
Oh
there's so
yeah,
many
yeah,
different
yeah.
options with that. And then the other thing that I thought would be really fun is to, experience what it'd be like to fly over like Pride Rock and the Lion King.
I'd be all in for that.
And they could even do that terrible live action Lion King movie and have that be the background because of how well done and how well animated it was. Ditto for like Jungle Book. But then other ones I thought would be really cool would be, Peter Pan. That'd be really, really cool to fly
Mhm.
over London like that and see all those, the good boys flying through the air. And then another one I thought of would be Big Hero 6 because they have,
San
yeah,
Francisco.
San Francisco, sure. And it's a really cool movie. And like the climax of that film, they're all just like kind of going around on their robots, or I guess like plush toy robot guys. Um, and that would be really, really fun too. So, I mean, there are so many different options of rides that you can pull from. And I just think that it could certainly use to have a little bit of a refresh in that way. And I mean, I don't know. I feel like Soarin's one of those rides where it should almost be Star Tours ish, where you kind of never know what you're going to get when you go on it.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, because after a while, it's like I've seen that. I mean, we've talked about Soarin' a lot, but it's like, how many
Mhm.
times do I need to see this?
How many times?
How many times, coach? So, yeah, okay. Anyways, an anthology like version, if you will, is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, and I think that's a fantastic idea, and you could I mean, it kind of feels like Feel Her Magic a little bit, where you're with Donald and he's kinda going through all of these different films, but instead of it being a musical, you would just be seeing all these beautiful sights and sounds and smells, and so I think that's a really great idea. You could even go over, Moana and still have that little
Yeah,
Fiji area,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
where it would not be Fiji, it would be, um, the Pacific Islands, but
Hmm.
you could still have the smell of the
Yeah,
salt water
you can go
and
over Land Before Time, before the extinction.
perfect. You can
Um,
smell dirt.
smell dirt. Doggone him, Littlefoot. He didn't mean it. His mom, he had a hard upbringing.
Bless his heart.
I know. He just was like, "Mom," and she's like, "Nope."
All right, next one.
Okay,
This one was your
so
idea.
this one was my idea. This one's kind of do you like that one? You could do like an entire series of Disney children whose parents have just been like, "See ya, afterlife, baby." You could do
So
Bambi,
terrible.
Simba. I'm assuming Andy because we don't see his dad in Toy Story. Like, I don't know.
We don't know. We don't know
Mm,
their lives.
we don't. Well, yeah.
All
Okay.
all of the princesses have one dead parent,
Yeah.
so they're all included.
Except for Rapunzel because she was straight up kidnapped, which is also horrifying.
Yeah,
It's
so
like, tell your
we
kid if
don't
you don't
really
eat your
know.
green vegetables,
Terrible.
someone's gonna come take you for your magic hair. La la la.
Terrible.
Okay, Haunted Mansion is another one that I was thinking of, and California and Disneyland, they do an amazing job of the Nightmare Before Christmas overlay, which I love it, and I think that it should be like almost a permanent fixture. But I have a soft spot. This is still a Tim Burton situation, but I have a soft spot for Frankenweenie. I love that movie. It's so good,
I
despite the name being weird.
I also am not a Tim Burton fan, so
Frankenweenie sounds like a treat that you would get from Universal Studios during like their Halloween time.
yeah.
But anyway, I love that movie. It's so good. There are actually really interesting fan theories about that film that the kid and his dog are actually Jack and Zero before
I've
they
heard
die.
that, yes.
Super
Like, as a
interesting.
child.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Similarly with The Corpse's Bride, there's like that would be kind of the middle thing. But anyway, I think it'd be really cool to do that. That's such a cool movie. It's really, really, really good and super well done. And so I think that'd be really fun to do for like a overlay or a replacement for Haunted Mansion.
Mhm.
But I know that everyone loves their 999 Grinning Ghosts, and they wouldn't want to replace that. So I know that's probably like a very unpopular opinion, but it would be interesting to see.
Well, the next one I think also would be an unpopular opinion because this one is literally just
Yeah,
because
I don't
I want this in the
I don't
parks.
think it's gonna be as unpopular as you think though.
Well, I think what's gonna be unpopular is what I'm choosing to replace,
Okay, well,
but what I'm choosing to replace it with, I know there is a huge following for my fellow Hocus Pocus lovers out there. I would certainly replace a dark ride for this because I think it would be worth it, but I'm thinking like Peter Pan's Flight because you're already going up into the air, flying over London, doing all of these you're seeing all these sights from above, right? Like the
yeah.
ride mechanism goes up and over. And so I thought, why not convert this to a broomstick, but make it super safe so people don't fall off? And you're flying through Salem. and you're flying over the school and you're hearing the Sanderson sisters and you're flying over, the kids trick-or-treating, and then you go to the cemetery and you see Billy pop out and you see Binks running under you, and so you're kind of following along with that.
And you smush him flat, but he comes back to life.
And the bus drives by,
Yeah, man.
and you see the devil and his wife come outside yelling at the children. I just thought,
Yeah, I could see that.
I'd be down for this ride.
I almost wonder if Peter Pan's flight would be the best opportunity for that.
Well, I was just trying to replace a dark ride, and I
Yeah.
thought because that one flies.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think that would definitely be cool. It would just be cool, I think, too, to have like the Sanderson sisters flying over you. So almost any dark ride would be cool. I do like Peter Pan's flight a lot, but if we're on the broomstick, like, are we the witches? Are we the baddies in that situation?
Sure.
All right, shoot.
We are the fourth Sanderson sister.
I don't feel like Disney gives you much opportunity to be your true evil self when you're there. I mean, you're kind of always the hero.
Right.
So it'd be kind of fun to do that.
Because the bad guy's never the main character.
Yeah.
You never have the antagonist being the center of the film.
I guess
not at Disney.
I guess the Sanderson sisters in this case would be the main characters. I mean, they're on the box cover.
Or are Max and Danny and Allison the main characters? Or is Binks the main character?
Here's what I want to say. Ain't nobody getting a Spirit jersey with Max on it. So...
Or Loungefly.
Yeah, like let me get my Allison mug, please and thank you. Like, no one wants that.
You're right.
So I would say the Sanderson sisters are the main act in that movie.
Yeah. I think you're right.
I mean, Ice is pretty good, but doggone haircut.
Buddy.
Yeah, he's cute. Okay. Let's pop on over to Hollywood Studios and talk about Rockin' Roller Coaster. So we both had options for this, but I'll let you talk about your thought first, and I'll bump into mine.
Yeah, so I have not been on Rock and Roller Coaster in a while. The takeoff for me is a little scary, but once I get through that, the rest of the ride I love. I absolutely love it. And I thought it's very reminiscent to me of the Incredicoaster in DCA. So I thought, why not bring another Incredibles roller coaster? It'd be a different thing, but it could still be similar for those of us who don't get to get out to Disneyland all the time. And it would feel a lot more Disney than having Steven Tyler screaming into your ears the whole ride. So I thought, why not do another Incredibles roller coaster? And you don't have to call it the Incredicoaster. You can call it something else.
Like Rockin' Bob Parr.
Perfect.
That'd be funny.
You'd be chasing Jack. Like
or
the other
Syndrome
one,
or whatever.
Or it could be a totally different thing.
Yeah.
You and your buddy Frozone could be working on catching somebody else. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. That'd be cool. My idea is another kind of no because east of the Mississippi probs. But I think an Iron Man overlay would be very, very, very cool there.
Mm-hmm.
I have really missed Iron Man since he was killed off in Endgame. Spoilers. But I think that him having his own ride would be extremely cool. And there's kind of like that recording studio scene in Rock and Roller Coaster where it's like, oh, you gotta get in your limo to be there for the backstage passes, lol. And it's just
you could have John Favreau.
Well, I was thinking you could have Robert Downey Jr. like working on his projects down in his little
but you could
basement.
have Happy there, like getting ready to drive you somewhere.
Well, no, so I was thinking more like Happy's just. Did you see Happy in No Way Home? Like, ugh.
Well, yeah, but he's his literal assistant.
Yeah.
He drives
Anyways,
places.
I think it'd be really cool to see Robert Downey Jr. like popping off in that room, but it's like where he has Jarvis and they're working together building stuff. And maybe like he has like the ride vehicles like an Iron Man transport suit or something like that they have to get into and do stuff. I just think that'd be really, really, really cool. And I would like to see that happen because I think an Iron Man ride would be great. Like, I don't know what it is, man, but Disney is like basically they've gone all in on Guardians of the Galaxy themed rides.
Well, because they only have so many options.
Yeah, but I mean, and obviously in DCA they have the Spider-Man web slingers and stuff, but
and Avengers Campus.
Right, well that's in there, and there's supposed to be like a big Avengers ride coming to DCA that's going to be like the Rise of the Resistance to the Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run, which I haven't heard any updates on at all. As we're recording this, I haven't heard anything, which I'm surprised by. But all that to say, yeah, Iron Man ride would be really very cool.
Can Captain America be present in the ride?
President in the ride?
Present. Like, can this be like Civil War era?
I guess.
Okay.
Is Abraham Lincoln going to be there too?
Not that Civil War.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I don't know what he'd be doing.
It doesn't matter.
Standing on the ground flying, being like, to your left. Or whatever. Or sitting on his park bench as an old man full of regret.
No.
Yeah, okay. That would be very cool to me, I think.
I think that sounds great.
Okay. Plus the queue could be so cool.
Well, right.
Oh my gosh, that queue'd be awesome.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, next one's yours.
Next one is mine. So Splash Mountain is a very, very, very good ride. It's a it's a beloved ride, and it is getting rethemed, rightfully so, to Princess and the Frog, which is going to be great. I mean, I've heard some rumors about how it's going to work. One of the things that I had heard was that when you do the drop, it's going to take you into like a big celebration. But the other thing that I heard about it was that when you go down into the when you go down the hill, that it's actually going to end up taking you to I think, what's his name, Dr. Fallicer? Cillier? It's going to take you to like the underworld, I think, is what I heard. And so when you do the big splash, I think it's going to take you down to the underworld and you're going to come out of that.
Really?
But that's what I heard. That's probably just a rumor, but that'd be really cool. But anyway, all that to say, I think that having a Moana overlay would be super fun.
That would be really cute.
Moana's such a good film. And I think that there could be a lot of really, really cool things that could happen with it. You could do, names are completely escaping me, so I might need your help. But the big volcano, the mad volcano lady, and then she turns into the nice flower lady. You could kind of have that contrast going down the hill where you're going up, and instead of the buzzards, talking to you, you could have the big fire woman. What's her name?
Te Kā is the volcano,
Yeah.
and then Te Fiti.
Okay, so you could have
the heart of Te Fiti.
Yeah,
right?
so you could have Te Kā kind of like taunting you on your way up, and then when you go down, then you're was Takiti, you said?
Te Fiti.
Te Fiti, sorry. You could have like Te Fiti down there at the end, and have like this kind of celebration back on the island with Maui and all the great characters. So I just think that'd be really, really fun.
I think that'd be awesome.
But Princess and the Frog, rightfully so, is going to be there, and
I think that's the perfect retheming.
Well, because I mean the bayou kind of feel and stuff, it's going to be perfect.
I wish it was in New Orleans Square, but alas, they can't just.
Disneyland, it's going to be very, very close.
Right, but they can't just like build it around New Orleans Square because they have to work within the confines of where it already sits in the park.
Yeah, although on a side note, when you are in Disneyland and you're kind of around Rivers of America, you get Pirates of the Caribbean, which is in New Orleans Square, and then Haunted Mansion, which has very much of like an old kind of New Orleans-y feel to it. Mm-hmm. And then you go right into Critter Country, but instead it's going to be the Princess and the Frog version. So it's not out of the question that it might kind of bleed into New Orleans Square a little bit.
Well, that's true.
Now, as for Disney World or Magic Kingdom, I can't speak to that.
Right.
But we'll see.
But we also don't have New Orleans Square.
That's right, you don't. You don't. So. That's weird to me. I think you should have it.
I love New Orleans Square.
Would you have Liberty Square instead?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would ditch that and have New Orleans Square instead.
That's where the Americana stuff is.
All
the presidents and all that.
Yeah, but when we went to that, my first time going through Liberty Square, I'm pretty sure Fozzie Bear in like a powder wig said something from the balcony, and I was like, ugh, what? It was really awful. Like all the Muppets started talking, and they all had like their Revolutionary War outfits on, and I was like, I don't think Kermit was like helping out.
That's where the Liberty Tree Tavern is too, which is really good food.
No, I just.
So they would just have a big retheming to do.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that area is nice, but
Yeah.
I prefer New Orleans
Yeah.
Square.
Same.
Give me the Blue Bayou.
Yes. Okay, so this is the last one we have.
And this one, we both came up with the exact same idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, total twins on this one.
How sweet.
Pack your bags, Figment. We are switching you out. So we're talking about Journey into Imagination. And this ride, for better or worse, is desperate for a retheming. Well, it's desperate for like a complete overhaul.
Right.
Whether it's Figment or our pick right now, it just needs to have something different. But I think,
Just redo it.
yeah, but I think that our pick would look very, very cool and be a lot of fun in there.
And
so
it
you
would-
can take it away.
It would really be a nice transition from the current version of Journey into Imagination into a new retheming, because you're going through
Totally.
your senses, and we're saying let's retheme it to Pixar's Inside Out.
Yeah, so Inside Out's not really senses, it's more emotions, but you can certainly pull from that.
Well, you're going
Definitely.
from sensation to perception, which is both in the realm of psychology. And so I thought, how cool would it be to start with seeing all of the emotions there at the main switchboard area and traveling through Riley's mind as you're encountering different things and seeing the emotions interact and the colors changing and the core memories being formed. And then the Triple Dent Gum song keeps popping up and you have Bing Bong flying out of nowhere on his little wagon. There's just so much they could do with that. I mean, it's such a good film. And you could be even just inside of Riley's head the whole time. You wouldn't even have to interact with Riley in her
Oh
world.
yeah, I would almost say you should. And then
Right.
all the screens that show off Figment currently, those could be like the outside view
Right.
of what's going on. You could have like all the different rooms could completely change in color and environment. Like for anger, it could turn red and be a little bit
Right.
warmer.
Yep.
For sadness, it could be dark and gloomy and blue.
Fear would be purple.
Yeah, disgust would be like I
Green.
don't know, green. I mean, obviously green, but I don't know, like the feeling would be in there. But
When she's eating broccoli on her pizza,
yeah, which I've actually had, and it's not terrible.
that's because anger says San Francisco, you ruined pizza.
Yeah,
You
I mean,
San Franciscan.
they can get away with that because Pixar's in Emeryville, right across the bridge. But
Right.
yeah, I think that would be very, very, very cool. I know there's some Figment apologists that would say otherwise.
We'll have little Figment Easter eggs.
I feel like Figment can be almost like a Duffy the Bear situation
Sure.
where he's there but he's not.
Right.
Like you would never expect to see a Duffy the Bear ride.
Or the Orange Bird.
Right, exactly. I mean, maybe in like Japan where Duffy the Bear is like a big deal.
Right.
But yeah, I think that Figment's kind of overstayed his welcome in an attraction, and he could be more like the titular Orange Bird, and kind of don his presence all throughout the park in a different way. But yeah, Inside Out would be extremely cool there, and I would be completely on board with that.
I'm all about it. Imagineers, you hear this?
Get on it, guys.
We have lots of
ladies.
ideas. Hire us or just give us credit for our ideas.
I don't even want credit. I just want to have a good time, you know? I just think it'd be fun.
Well, we just think they're fun. So we hope you think they're fun too.
Yeah, so that's kind of a fun little thing. That's about all we had for it, and I don't really have anything else. I don't know if you do or any other thoughts.
Just if you guys have any other retheming ideas, we would love to hear them. Share them on our page so other people can see your ideas. It's just a fun little way to engage with each other in our little podcast community here, and to see what ideas you have. We love to hear the feedback and your guys' opinions as well.
So speaking of our little community, thank you for listening, and you can find us on Instagram at the Parks Academy. You can also find us on Patreon at the Parks Academy Pod. We are online at theparksacademypod.com, where we are tirelessly churning out blogs and data and updates and stuff like that for what's going on at the parks, new rides, upcoming events, just all kinds of stuff, new resorts. And like we always say, if you could share this with your friends, give us a little review on iTunes or Spotify, would appreciate it. But other than that, yeah, that's about all we got, and we thank you all so much for listening, and we will catch you next time.